Hello everyone and welcome to Beginner's Code, a place for you to learn with me as I dive deeper into the coding world. Before I start, if you haven't yet, please check out my new website for blogs all about Python or my posts on Instagram that go into detail about the basics of Python. Or if you're looking for source code for some projects, then by all means check out my GitHub where there are over 70 projects that you can explore. The links for these will all be in the descriptions below, so please do check them out. Also, don't forget to subscribe to see more videos from me as I teach you through the basics. Today, we are going to be going through how to code a change calculator in 3 different ways. The first will be using logic such as while loops and if statements. The second will be using functions, and finally, we will do the same using object-oriented programming. This program only uses one sum, so after this video I want you to try and turn this into an ongoing sum that keeps track of the new amount of money and then subtracts from that, kind of like a bank statement. Okay, so to start with, we are going to import a module called time. We are then going to assign a variable called calc, the true boolean. So now we can use the calc variable as the flag for a while loop. So while true, we can assign a variable called ready to the user input of are you ready to start, type quit to end. So now that will ask the user if they are ready. Whatever they type in will then be assigned to the ready variable. So if the ready variable is double equal to the string of quit, we will break, else, and then we will input our logic here. So money is equal to the float, and we are using floats here because money is 2 decimal places, or it can be 2 decimal places. So input, please enter how much money you have, and then cost, and we will do float again. And input, please enter the cost of the item. And now we can do money underscore left is equal to money minus cost. So this will take the 2 inputs that the user has entered and assign it to the new variable of money left. So now, because we have used the float method to change the user input into a float, we might end up getting a long string of decimal places, and that is just a way that computers work. So what we can do is create a new variable called new money and assign it to the round function of money underscore left, and we can say that we want it to 2 decimal places. So now we can print just a statement that says calculating, and this will appear just before because now we can use the time module and do time.sleep and enter 1. So whatever is entered in this is in seconds. So this will pause the output for 1 second. And then we can print you have money, new money. So we are putting the new money variable in and saving. So now if I head over to my terminal and I cd into the desktop and then run the file by Python, what did I call it? Change calc version 1. Are you ready to start? Yes. Enter how much money you have, 100. Enter the cost of the item, $24.99. Calculating, 75 and 1p left. So yes. And then where I said at the beginning about creating it so that it carries on, now I would have to enter the same amount of money to get this more like a bank statement. And then £24.99 again, and £50 and 2p left. So now if I head back over and I comment this out and save it and run the file again, it's my bad, and I run the file again, yes, 100, and then if I do 24.54, we get back, sorry about this, I need to change the variable to money left because new money has been commented out. So if I Run this again, third time lucky, 24.54. We get back this long string of a float, which obviously isn't necessary because 0.0000001 of a penny is not that much. And that is the end of the first version. Okay, so the second way we are going to do it is by using functions. So I will use the import time module again, and we will first define a function called intake. And this will take a variable called money, and we will assign that to a float of user input. So here we are going to ask, please enter how much money you have. And whatever the user enters here, we will return. We are then going to create a new function called money out, and we will assign a new variable called cost to the input of please enter how much the item cost, and we will then return cost. Now we will create a new function called replay, and we will assign a variable called ready to the input of are you ready to start, type quit to end. Now whatever the user replies here, if they reply anything other than the word quit, then it will return true. If they reply quit exactly as it is here, then it will return false. So if ready is double equal to the string of quit, then we will return false, else we will return true. So while replay, so we are calling the function here to start the while loop. So if it returns false, then the while loop will end. If it returns true, then the next lot of code will start. So we are going to create a new variable called money in, which will be assigned to the function up here of intake. So here the intake will be called and it will ask how much money the user has. We will then create a money out variable, and it will be assigned to the money out function. So again, it will ask the user the cost, and it will be assigned into the variable money out. So now if we create a new variable called money left and assign it to money underscore in minus money underscore out. So what we're doing here is we're taking the amount of money the user has and minusing the cost and creating a new variable called money left. So now if we create a new variable called new money and assign it to the function round, which will round money left to 2 decimal places, we can then print calculating, and then we can use the time.sleep method with 1 second, and we will then print you have new underscore money left. And if I save that and head back to the terminal and I cd into the desktop and then Python change calculator version 2, and then yes, I am ready to start, enter how much money, 100, cost of item 65.3, calculating, you have 34.7 left. Yes, and then if I was to do 19.99 and then £10, calculating, we have 9.99 left. Now if I type in quit, it ends the program. Okay, so the third and final way is going to be using object-oriented programming. So to start with, we will import time again, and now we will create a class and call it money. Now, because we are going to be creating methods to ask the user how much money they have and how much the item cost, we don't actually need to initialize a method. So we will first define a new method called money underscore owned and pass in the value of self. We can then create a new variable called money and assign it to the float of user input, asking them to enter how much money they have, and we can return money. Now we will create a new method called cost of item, and pass in the value of self. So now we can create a new variable called cost and create user input called please enter how much the item cost, and this will again be cast as a float, and we will return cost. Now we can create a new method called calculation and pass in the self parameter. Now we will create a new variable called money and assign it to the self.money_owned method. And we are going to call it here with parentheses, which means that once calculation has been called, it will excuse me, it will actually call this method inside of it. We can also then do the same for the cost, so self.cost of item, and then we can do money_left is equal to money minus cost. And then again, we will create a new variable called new money and assign it to the round function for money left to 2 decimal places. We can then print calculating and then time.sleep for 1 second, and then print you have new_money left. Now outside of the while loop, we will create, outside of the class, we will create a new method or a new function called replay. And we will create a variable inside called ready, which will be assigned to user input of would you like to start, type quit to end. And then if ready is double equal to the string of quit, we will return false, else we will return true. So now a little bit of logic. Using a while loop, we will call the replay function. And if it returns true, then we will assign a new variable called calc to the object or the class of money. So we are creating an object here called calc, which we can now call different methods on, or the methods that we have defined inside of the object. So calc.calculation will call this method here, and as I've already stated, this will then create a new variable called money, and it will call this method. we will then assign a new variable called cost, and it will call this method, and then it will run through the logic. So if I save this, head back to the terminal, cd into the desktop, Python change calc version 3. Would you like to start? Yes. Enter how much money? 50. 24.99. Calculating. £25 and 1p left. Yes. 100. 78.21. And we have £21 and 79p left. Now if I quit, it ends the program. That's all for today's video. Hopefully this has helped you see that there are multiple ways of creating the same program. If there's anything you'd like me to cover further, please don't hesitate in reaching out to me by dropping a comment below on Instagram or through my website. Stay tuned, as in my next video I will be going into detail about if statements. If you liked what we've been through today and you want to learn more, please drop a like and subscribe to my channel to keep up to date. Thank you and see you next time.